Welcome to the discovery of African wild ass, the forgotten ancestor of the donkey. In the blazing heart of East Africa, where the sun scorches the earth and the horizon shimmers with heat, roams a creature few have ever seen, yet one whose legacy touches every corner of our world. This is the African wild ass, the ancient ancestor of the humble donkey. Rare, mysterious, and almost forgotten, it survives against all odds in one of the harshest landscapes on earth. First glimpse, the African wild ass is no ordinary animal, standing tall with a slender frame, strong legs, and a short, sleek coat of a pale gray. It blends perfectly with the desert's dust. Its most striking feature lies in its leg, black zebra-like stripes that tell the story of its wild heritage. Unlike the domestic donkey, this animal is learner, faster, and built for survival. A creature of extreme life here is unforgiving. The African wild ass endures scorching heat by day, freezing winds by night, and endless miles without food or water. Yet it is a master of survival. With its keen sense of smell, it can locate hidden water sources deep beneath the earth in times of drought. This ability becomes the difference between life and death. The herd structure. They live in small herds, rarely larger than a dozen. Unlike domestic donkeys, the African wild ass is shy, alert, and fiercely protective of its family. A dominant stallion watches from a ridge, guarding mares and foals from predators lurking in the distance. Jackals, hyenas, and even lions test their defenses, but with speed and sharp hooves, these wild asses can outrun almost anything. Ancient lineage. The story of the African wild ass stretches back thousands of years, long before the first pyramids were built. Humans encountered these desert survivors. It was from them that mankind domesticated the donkey, an animal that carried goods, pulled carts, and became the backbone of civilization. Without the African wild ass, human history might have been very different. A struggle of survival. But today, the African wild ass faces a battle of its own. Only a few hundred remain in the wild, hunting habitat loss and competition with livestock have pushed them to the edge of extinction. Their strong genes, once spread across continents, are now trapped in shrinking pockets of desert. Each passing year, their calls grow fainter in the winds of Ethiopia and Eritrea, and yet they endure. Every step on the burning sand tells a story of resilience. Every full bore is a spark of hope for the future. The African wild ass is not just a wild donkey, it is a living link to our past, a bridge between that untamed wilderness and the rise of civilization. To save it is to protect a part of ourselves. As the sun dips behind the mountains, the African wild ass disappears in the shadows, silent, rare, almost invisible, yet always present in the heartbeat of history. In the forgotten deserts of Africa, this ancient creature still roams, a symbol of strength, survival, and the eternal bond between man and nature. The origin and history of the domestic donkey. Humanity's humble companion, the donkey's journey begins over 6,000 years ago in North Africa, when humans first tamed the African wild ass. These early donkeys were strong, resilient, and perfectly adapted to the harsh desert of Ethiopia and Somalia. Unlike horses, donkeys were not built for speed or war. Instead, they were born survivors, able to live on scarce vegetation, endure burning sun, and walk miles across deserts without water. This made them the ideal partner for ancient traders, shepherds, and farmers. Donkeys became the lifeline of early civilization. In Egypt, they were used to transport copper and precious stones across the Sinai Desert. In Mesopotamia, they pulled carts filled with grain and tools. In the Bible, the donkey appears as a symbol of peace, humility, and service. Strength and resilience. A donkey may look smaller and less powerful than a horse, but its strength is extraordinary. A well built donkey can carry up to 30% of its body weight for long distances. They can survive in dry, rugged, and mountainous terrain where horses would collapse. Donkeys are intelligent problem solvers. This is why people often mistake donkeys for being stubborn. In truth, donkeys refuse to put themselves in danger. If a donkey senses a threat, whether it's an unstable bridge, a predator, or a dangerous path, it will stop. This is not stubbornness, it is survival instinct spread across the world. As trade expanded, donkeys spread from Africa into Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. In China, donkeys become vital for agriculture and transportation in mountainous regions. In the United States, donkeys played a critical role in building railroads and mining towns during the 19th century. In Spain, large donkey breeds like the Andalusian donkey were developed, later brought to the Americas by explorers. Everywhere they went, donkeys adapted to the culture and needs of the people. Breeds of domestic donkeys. Today, there are over 180 recognized breeds of donkey worldwide. Donkeys and humanity bond. In Christianity, Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, symbolizing peace rather than war. In literature, donkeys appear as wise, comical, or hardworking figures from Aesop's. In village worldwide, donkeys remain essential, carrying water, firewood, and supplies where no vehicle can go. Even today, in many developing regions, donkeys are the difference between survival and poverty. They are the silent engines of rural life. Personality and behavior. Donkeys are not just working animals, they have unique personalities. They form strong emotional bonds with humans and other donkeys. They are naturally calm and patient, often comforting other animals. Donkeys use a distinct call, the bray or hee-haw, to communicate across long distance. Unlike horses, which flee at signs of danger, donkeys will stand and face predators like dogs, wolves, or coyotes. This makes them excellent guardian animals for livestock such as sheep and goats. The modern struggle, but despite their loyalty, donkeys are often overlooked, mistreated, and undervalued. In some regions, they are overworked until collapse. In others, they are killed for their hides. To make products like Ijiao, a traditional Chinese medicine, as modern machines replace animals in farming, donkeys' populations are declining in many parts of the world. Conservation groups now recognize the importance of protecting donkeys' breed. not just for cultural heritage but for future generations.